Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in KITZUR Shabbos, in the laws of bishul of cooking, and we're talking about the different types of kelim vessels that a person can use to cook or not to cook. Kli Rishon we spoke about yesterday. Kli Rishon al eish, the pot, the food that is cooking on the fire itself. Now we have Kli Rishon shehusameh al eish. You have that same pot, except instead of it being on the fire, you removed it from the fire. So now it's sitting on your countertop. But it's a Kli Rishon still, it's where the food was cooking. For Akasavnu Shedvarim Shelo Shaykh and Bishul, we already wrote that those things that are not shaykh, it's not possible to cook them. You can only put it into a Kli Rishon that's removed from the fire. And you have no intention to return that pot to the fire itself. But those things that you could cook in, or that you could cook, you can't even put into this Kli Rishon that's off the fire. Because the heat is so great inside of that food that's in the Kli Rishon that even if it's off the fire, it could still cook things. Even all you want to do is remove some of the cold that is in that food. Even though you plan to remove it from that Kli Rishon that's off the fire, before it actually cooks up too much, you just want to warm it up a bit. Before it reaches the temperature of Yatzel lettuceville, that 100 and something degrees, even that is going to be asr. It's only going to be asr to heat things up in that Kli Rishon, that first vessel that's off the fire, if it reaches the temperature of Yad lettuceville. Even only a little piece from the food. But if it's not going to reach that heat, you can put anything inside of that Kli. Therefore, you could pour a lot of cold water into this Kli Rishon, this first vessel that's off the fire. You poured in so much cold water, they're not going to be able to heat up to Yatzel lettuceville. We'll move on. That means you have to pour all the cold water in there all at once. If you put a little bit in a time, the first drops that you pour in are already heating up the Yatzel lettuceville before you get the rest of it in there. And the fact that it all cools off afterwards, says the KITZUR over here, there's not going to be an issue over there, because at the time that you were pouring it all in one at a time, the fact that everything cools off afterwards, it doesn't really matter, since at the time that you poured it in slowly, that actually was a problem of bishul of cooking. Therefore you could take a bottle of drink. People do this with the milk they give to their babies, or even, he says, even food, you could put a bottle in there. As long as it cannot reach that heat of Yatzel lettuceville, you're allowed to put those things into the water that is hot, because it's not going to get to that temperature. You're not allowed to put cold water into a Kli that's off the fire if we're afraid that it's going to turn into Yatzel lettuceville. Therefore, be very careful. Do not open on Shabbos the beres, the faucet, to take water out of the hot water faucet. Besides the fact that if the fire of the hot water heater is still on, so cold water that comes into the pipes for sure going to get heated up as a result of that. Even if the fires already were extinguished, in the hot water heater, gam kein asur, it's still going to be asur. Why? Bishum shamayim achadoshim, because the new water, which is cold, shebam lemecham, that comes into the hot water, mischam mitoichamayim, gets heated up amongst the water, shadai nisharim b'mecham, because the hot water is still in the furnace, or it's still in the hot water heater. We have to be concerned that the cold water and they're getting cooked for bishul, and that's an issue. And therefore, don't turn on the hot water heater. Don't turn on the hot water on Shabbos, because if you do, you might be doing yourself a terrible isser of cooking on Shabbos. Have a wonderful day.